Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. The federal government has unveiled a new housing development site. It's one of several initiatives intended to ease pressure on rental prices and supply. Despite more homes hitting the market, critics claim the state government has bitten off more than it can chew, with too much to do in too little time.
This empty parcel of land set to be developed with a mixture of 47 private, affordable and social houses. The project, underpinned by a $3.7 million loan to the organisation managing the site, Mission Australia, from the National Housing, Finance and Investment Corporation, responsible for the Home Guarantee Scheme.
Without the loan from NIFIC, our organisation would unlikely have been able to undertake a development of this type. So the loan was just shy of $4 million.
Local MP and Federal Housing Minister Julie Collins also announcing an extra $2 billion nationally in the corporation's lending capacity, just days after protesters targeted her office, demanding more be done to relieve rental crisis pressure.
What we are doing as a government is moving as quickly as we can to get as many homes on the ground as quickly as we can.
Just across the river, the state government also spruiking its commitment, touring 53 homes at Bridgewater, expected to be ready for occupation by the end of this month.
From our organisation's point of view, with the ability to work with the Tasmanian state government and importantly Homes Tasmania, we're really proud that we've delivered one house every working day this financial year.
We've got a big job to do, and the month of June is going to be an historic month in terms of delivering more homes faster.
But the opposition questions whether the targets will be met.
The government have pretended they've got this magnificent goal of 10,000 houses in 10 years. They need to be building 3 houses every day. Clearly they are not.
Only time will tell if their target, deemed ambitious, is successful. Brianna Boylan, 7 Tasmania News.
The state government is trying to determine whether any Tasmanian information has been compromised in another data breach. The Commonwealth contacted the state government today about the release on the dark web of data held by law firm HWL Ebsworth. The Tasmanian government is one of the firm's clients. In an estimates hearing yesterday, Science and Technology Minister Madeleine Ogilvie was questioned over the Ebsworth attack, which she claims was made public in May. Tasmania's Hydro Basslink inquiry has returned to the table for the first time in a year. The committee discussed the change of ownership and what it will mean for the state, with the government listing energy security improvements, economic growth and a cleaner world as some of the benefits of Marinus Link.
July this year, APA is expected or has advised the government of its intention to apply to the Australian Energy Regulator, so that would be when it commences.
Members say the meeting was all about gathering information, with a report to be produced at a later date. Independent federal MP Andrew Wilkie has accused the state government of failing to keep the AFL properly informed of the depth of opposition to the Macquarie Point Stadium project. He made the claims after meeting with both the outgoing and incoming bosses of the league.
It's no secret Andrew Wilkie isn't a fan of a new stadium at Macquarie Point.
I'd say the state government plucked it out of their arse.
The Clark MP recently having the chance to present his case to Gillon McLachlan and incoming league boss Andrew Dillon.
It was a civil exchange of ideas. They gave me a fair hearing, and I'm confident that they now have a much better understanding of what the range of views are.
An area he believes the state government has been keeping quiet on.
It was news to Gill. He's only heard what the Tasmanian government has to say, and the Tasmanian government's been quick to say whatever the AFL wants to hear.
An AFL spokesperson told 7 Tasmania News the meeting was constructive, with the AFL CEO reinforcing why our state would not have got a licence without the stadium.
I think the AFL can speak for themselves and what their views are. They are aware of the views of the Tasmanian people. They know the opportunities for an AFL team.
I think the AFL would pretty quickly be able to figure out that the majority of Tasmanians are not happy with it.
Mr Wilkie challenging anti-stadium groups to continue speaking up.
The community in Tasmania, those who oppose the stadium, that they rally and they put the pressure on the government.
A call the SFL's president and member for Franklin has issued to stadium supporters.
Let your voice be heard in this. It's important that the Tasmanians that love footy are heard in this debate because it's their future.
John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
Launceston will soon be armed with new flood protections thanks to the flow of funds for an early detection system. Residents in low-lying areas of the city are set to benefit, sharing in the rollout of a national funding commitment.
Preparing for disasters ahead of time, the Launceston community now a step closer to ensuring it's ready to face whatever nature throws at it.
If there's a disaster happening and it's just around the corner, this is going to help prevent that.
The federal government, Launceston City Council and the Launceston Flood Authority joining forces to keep future threats at bay. More than $400,000 will funnel into the development of early detection technology, strengthening resilience and response.
This will help in terms of new technology to educate and give advance warning, and this sort of technology can go a long way to support businesses and to, in fact, save lives.
Early prevention, it's not going to stop the flooding, but it will be able to help us move that time-critical sense that is about the safety of the community.
The city will tap into the cash injection, updating existing gauges and systems, while also giving fresh eyes and a new perspective.
We'll have installed some cameras so that we can look at road closures and other areas where the floodwaters are actually having a direct impact.
Making the most of the latest innovations to learn from Launceston's historic and catastrophic flooding.
Working with the Bureau of Meteorology to make sure that we can get as much data and information to provide surety to where the floodwaters are going to hit and when.
Authorities doing everything they can to avoid history repeating itself. Victoria Easto, 7 Tasmania News.
Young rural adults living with cancer are the focus of a new study being undertaken by a Tasmanian nurse. Jessica Hammersley has received a $10,000 scholarship aiming to use the funds to improve oncology care.
Suited up from head to toe, working on the front line of intense cancer treatment can be an emotional and fatiguing task.
I'm an advocate for my patients, so I'm looking after them day in, day out. I see the needs, so it's a place where I've really found that that's where I need to be in my nursing life.
Oncology nurse Jessica Hammersley wants to improve the journey for her patients after identifying a need for more research into the experience of those aged 18 to 25.
They might be brand new diagnosed, or they might be in remission, or they might actually be might have received an end of life diagnosis as well. So it's really important to capture those voices.
The PhD student is undertaking a study on young people battling the disease who live in Tasmania's rural areas. It's all been made possible through Mugu's postgraduate cancer nursing scholarship, pioneered by survivor Melissa Lewis.
We're really hoping to empower and educate and provide that support to cancer nurses who want to continue developing and upskilling in this area.
A recent workforce report has highlighted the need to upskill the next generation, with nearly 20% of nurses indicating their intention to only stay in cancer care for less than 5 years.
The passion that these nurses have just to better one's journey, so all around, patient care and support.
Participants are welcome to get involved in the study or helping to shape the future of care. Grace Evans, 7 Tasmania News.
People in and around Sorell have shown their generosity, donating $8,000 worth of goods to a food drive that Liberal member for Prosser Jane Howlett started a month ago. The donations now being divided between 5 housing organisations.
I don't think I can look at all the food in the room, must admit, because it probably will make me cry. Often food is something that parents and adults think can be in their control, so we often see food as the first thing that goes.
Let's hope the food drive will become an annual tradition. A Tasmanian opera singer's inspiring return to the big stage has come with a swag of accolades. Jacqueline Ward is back hitting the high notes after a serious car crash kept her away from performing for almost 3 years.
From fearing she'd never sing again to having her angelic sounds ring out in Town Hall. Jacqueline Ward's music resurgence has been a long journey, but one that's come with great success. The Burnie performer has taken home 5 first-place awards in the recent Hobart Stedford.
And to have that recognition, it's not only incredibly encouraging, but it does cause me to feel like I'm getting a little bit of momentum.
It comes after a long battle when a frightening car accident in 2020 left the opera singer with spinal injuries and struggling to use her voice at all.
To come back from that, obviously there's an enormous amount of work that goes into it, not just to sing and perform, but to walk again.
Resilience and determination in rehab all helping to get her body back to performing fitness.
I'm proud because I'm doing these really difficult, complex exercises and things that I couldn't do before.
Now back where she belongs and taking her place centre stage.
I just feel like I'm absolutely in the right place.
Grace Evans, 7 Tasmania News.
Brooks High School students and staff have braved the elements, taking the plunge for a good cause. Those courageous enough to slide into a pool of ice were happy to put their own spin on the big freeze. Pupils also given the chance to test their sponge throwing skills, raising more than $4,000 for motor neuron disease.
I think it's just to support a great cause and a bit of school spirit. We've sold lots of beanies. We've encouraged our students to wear the beanies to school and even socks.
The funds will be donated to Fight MND. Tasmanians are becoming wrapped with a new QV Mag exhibition. The Healing Circle combines colourful textile wrappings under the artistic eye of Launceston artist Ralph Hartel for Pride Month. Inclusivity is the artist's core message.
And people being engaged and being able to be part of that and celebrating the fact that as a community we have become much more inclusive.
Tasmanians can add more elements to the display at a workshop tomorrow before the final community circle is unveiled at Inveresk on Saturday week. And the QV Mag is also taking a look through a new lens with the unveiling of the Wildlife Photography of the Year exhibition. The global tour making its only Tasmanian stop in Launceston, showcasing the often unseen side of nature. More than 100 winning works from 17 categories are having their moment in the spotlight, capturing everything from the mysteries of below the sea to rare human interactions.
A lot of these images capture creatures doing really interesting and strange things.
One of the exciting things about it is that the stories behind some of these pictures, which they do have some descriptions there about how close the people got to some potentially pretty dangerous situations.
The free exhibition runs until August 20.
Devonport and South Hobart are ready for this weekend's Lacko Searjack Cup final, with the match shaping as a test of defence. South has scored for fun in the Cup this year, putting 7 past the Knights and 5 against Hobart United in the semis. The Strikers are also finding the back of the net consistently, setting the scene for an entertaining match.
We know how they play, so if we can stop them at the source rather than ball being to nick in the box, it's how we stop them.
When we approach any match, we come in with the attitude that we're even or above any of the teams, and we're going out there with the intent.
And kick-offs at 5 p.m. tomorrow at KG5. The Western Bulldogs AFLW captain says Tasmania's up-and-coming women's footballers will be the backbone of the state's new team. Ellie Blackburn headlining a new breakfast dedicated to women in footy, which also served as the unveiling of the SFL All-Star team.
Once the autograph seeker, Ellie Blackburn is now a woman in demand. From idolising Daisy Pearce at a suburban venue, she's now the hero to young girls, a role not lost on her.
There's so many women that come up to me and say that they love watching me play and inspired by what I get to do, and for me that's so heartwarming.
The Bulldogs captain and premiership player the guest of honour at the SFL's inaugural Women in Footy breakfast. Backing Tasmania's AFL dream, she says our local leagues will help the team kick goals.
I think you'll see the game grow here a lot more. I think from a community level, we'll see more participation rates increase, and I think that's really exciting.
The event doubling as the SFL's Guernsey presentation for this weekend's All-Star Series. Rachel Archer will captain the seniors, with Brianna Barwick her deputy. Both are confident the team will go from opponents to teammates quickly.
We play against each other each week, but I think that we've gelled together and we've kind of put it aside.
The one that puts in the most hard effort and work will, I reckon, be the victories on the day.
In the under-20s, Ella Wagner will lead the team.
Knowing that there's so many girls to pick from, so much talent, it's just privilege, honestly.
The two sides urge to enjoy the moment.
I think it's important that we sort of break down those layers and remember why we play the game. It's for the love of it.
John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
And with North Melbourne playing GWS at Launceston Arena this weekend, tonight's Friday flashback is to when the two sides met in the very first AFL game at the ground in 2012. After years of political wrangling, the Roos finally established their Tassie base with a thumping win over the Giants.
The old mentality of footy in the north, cricket in the south was blown up when Hobart adopted a new set of colours in 2012.
It's happened.
Busloads of fans descended on Launceston Arena for Hobart's first game of AFL in 2 decades. More than 11,000 blue and white converts embraced the new home of Hobart footy.
Go Roos! We should have a win today.
While the odd orange team fan cut lonely figures.
Hopefully they'll roll North Melbourne today.
They sure didn't. North rolled the Giants in only their second AFL game by a whopping 129 points. For the trivia buffs, Ryan Bastonak kicked the Roos' first ever goal at the ground. Fan favourite Brent Harvey then chimed in on the demolition job.
He started it and now he finishes it.
If Roos converts wanted to see action, they got it. At half-time, the side led 12-8-80 to just 4 points.
And North Melbourne have goal number 12 on the board.
The Giants finally kicked truly in the third, and then first-year player Jeremy Cameron managed 4 off his own boot. But the Roos had 15 individual goal kickers in their biggest winning margin since 1996.
And I can't believe it, Kim, you're beating me in the footy tips this week because you forgot to put yours in last night.
I'm always forgetting. I think there's no hope of me catching you, Tom.
Good evening. Devonport 13 today, Hobart, Launceston and Burnie all 12. The Islands, Friendly Beaches and Maria Island all 13. Smithton, Lowhead, St Helens and Strawn 12. 11 was the top for Bushy Park and for Grove, Lyowini 4 degrees. Low-level cloud stream in and over Tasmania from the west with little cloud in the east. Low-level cloud continues over the state and the southern coast of Australia. The rest of the country again is mostly cloud-free. A high persists over the SA and WA border, extending a wide ridge east to Brisbane and west to Perth. A broad trough sits over the state. West to northwesterly, 25 to 35 knots, reaching up to 40 knots. The west and south can expect westerly swells up to 5 to 7 metres. A severe weather warning for damaging winds for parts of the west and east coast. A gale warning continues for the majority of the state. There's also a strong wind warning for the remainder of Tasmania. A minor flood warning exists for St Patrick's River and for most parts of the North and South Esk rivers. There's also a bushwalker and sheep graziers alert. Tomorrow, Hobart 15 and a shower or 2. Maydena windy and showers 11. Oatlands similar conditions and 13. Launceston 15, a shower or 2 increasing for Devonport. Lyowini possible snow there, 8's the top. Burnie winds easing, heavy falls in Strawn 14. Marrawar 15. St Helens partly cloudy, wind and cloudy in Swansea 16. Alford 15. Sunday, showers about the northwest and far south, mainly fine elsewhere. Monday, more showers about the north and west. Tuesday, showers expected in the north. To the mainland tomorrow, Brisbane sunny 23. Also sunshine for Sydney, cloudy in Melbourne and a possible frost for Canberra. And Hobart, currently 8, partly cloudy. Launceston 8, mostly clear. Devonport 9 and also partly cloudy. Enjoy the long weekend ahead and please stay safe on our roads.
Great advice. Thank you, Kaya. Before we go, if you're heading to the East Coast for the long weekend, keep your eyes out for a colourful new art installation at Avoca. Although standing at a whopping 14 metres tall, it'd be pretty hard to miss. Taswater enlisted the talents of Launceston artist James Creamart Cowan to create the spectacular display on the Evoca water tank. The wedge-tail eagle is Creamart's largest mural so far. And that is all your news for this Friday. I'll be back later with updates, and Louise will be with you over the weekend. Take care. Good night.